How I Receive the Path to Your Best Life. You've heard me speak about that quite a bit if you've listened to me before, but now today I thought I would tell you how that happened. Because if you're a human person, then I know that I've been given the path to your best life. Because that comes through how you choose to think about yourself, and that is in your consciousness. And I received a philosophy. A philosophy is something that would work for any person, that works for all of us. Now, the other part of that, a philosophy is something that comes in that's new, so it would be really difficult for others to believe it and even for me to believe it. And I'm saying that because you have something within you that could have been challenging or difficult for you to believe, and you might have thought you were some sort of an imposter or something that's never happening. You're moving through your self actualization. You're moving through personal development. You're moving through ascension. You're moving through a greater sense of belief or faith or whatever you might think of, but it's all the same. And we all do that in the same place, and that is in consciousness. But we won't all do it the same way, and that becomes the difficulty because then we will start to judge ourselves if we are not fitting in, if we're not being like everyone else, and we're never supposed to do that. But we get stuck. I got stuck because I couldn't believe that I had done this. And I'm saying, wait a minute, I'm almost 75. What happens if I die and I haven't told you yet? Well, that's what I'm doing today. And I'm saying this because you could be trying to believe something about yourself right now, and it's really challenging. But I'm telling you, you will get there. And I do know that because I lived it. I lived it and I wrote it down. And so those of you who may not know what I'm talking about, I started doing Wilhelm in automatic writing in 1989. I just want you to see this. I spent 36 years doing it every single day. I wrote it down. And I went through every single possible difficult thing you can imagine. And then I had the results of them. So when I talk to people about this work, it's not a hypothetical. No, this works because it's also based in science. This has nothing to do with religion. It's about intelligence. It's about your consciousness. And so this is again why it works for everyone, because Wilhelm said, we're going to surpass your religious biases because we all have them in different ways. But what if you could think of every single person as having worth and value? And so what they decided to do was show me that that was true. And the way they showed me that that was true is that we're all energy and we're all connected, and we have a genetic code that comes into the world at a particular time to do something. And that's what's within you. And sometimes it can be a little challenging and chaotic as it feels now. But it's only doing that so that we each take the next step into our higher understanding, our higher consciousness. I never wanted to be a channel. I never thought that was what I was going to do. I was never going to do this work at all. So you may have had something that was tucked away in you since you were a child, and now it's there, and it's saying, please do it. We all have that. And if we do it together, it becomes a lot easier, and that's what I was told. To give you a little more background here, like I said, I started in 1989, didn't want to tell people. Only other people started telling me what I had, and that's why I started the website, I think in about 2008, and that's why many of the messages that you might see only go back to those years. But then that also said that's why Wilhelm gave us information in that way. We move through cycles. We move through cycles in our life as we live, and you've been through many of them, but also the world does the same thing. Our civilization does the same thing. And as we move through a change, we resist. We resist ourselves, or we resist something new because we fear the unknown. And the hysterical thing is, when I first started receiving the information about the restructuring that we're experiencing now, that was in 2020, and I kept doubting it. I said, no, this can't be happening. And then I look at our world today and I said, oh, wait a minute, it's all here. And this is why I wanted everyone to understand, because see, you're here to change the world. And you will change the world when you decide to honor who you are. That's what I talked about earlier today, because that was the message on the Any Advice site for last year. We're all here to change the world, but we can only do that when we decide to become who we're meant to be. And my job, obviously, was to move through my life and write all this information and bring in a new philosophy that could have you live your best life. And I know that it works because every question that you have has been answered. It has been answered because the answer is within you. What I was given was a way for you to excavate that brilliance that is within you. And so if you go to the site today, you'll see what has happened. And again, I have to say this, you wouldn't have understood it because I didn't understand it because we've never seen it in human history. And many times when that happens, that makes it so difficult, not only for you, but much more difficult for me, because I couldn't get people to understand what the work was. And then I see them suffering. I see people going back and forth trying to find the next thing to do that's going to give them the ability to own themselves. And I say, well, Wilhelm has already given it to us. But that's not their fault either, because I also didn't finish. I didn't believe. And I'm saying this because I want you to see the testimonials from the people who've done part of this program. And I only gave them 31 days, and it changed their lives. And that was years ago. But I doubted myself, as you might be doing now. When I first discovered that this is what this work had turned into, and that was in 2021, I couldn't believe it. And so I went and had Akashic Records readings done. I'd never done anything like that before, but I needed some help. I needed to understand who I was. I needed to accept it. And now I do understand, and now my only mission is to have you understand and accept who you are, because I know how valuable you are. I know that you're here for a reason, because I was given all of that information, and I was given the order. I had to do this beforehand because I'm going to be doing what's called the Channel Panel in West Virginia in November, and I'm going to be doing a class there, a big class, and so I'm starting to put this together, which is why I had to make changes. And I'm talking about our planetary ascension, because it's happening everywhere. It's not just you. The entire globe is changing. But you affect the world by how much you decide to love yourself and become who you're meant to be. And that's moving through all the limitations, all the generational trauma, because we all have it. We don't come into the world just free and clear. We have things that we're carrying with us. And so what Wilhelm showed me was that there are energy patterns with everything, and they gave it to us. Now, again, I had never seen this. It was so shocking to discover it. But when I would do channeling sessions, it would come through that my goal was to marry science, spirituality, and human potential. And that's what I've done, because the potential is within all of us. And I just demonstrated what could happen, because you can heal. You can change anything. That I do know. Someone who suffered through every horrible, difficult thing, I understand where you could be, but I also know that you can get over it, and I've written it all down, and I've documented it all. There's no reason for you to struggle or suffer anymore. You're going to have some difficulties, but it doesn't have to be something where you feel that you can't get over it or that you can't change it. Yeah, we're going to always have difficulties. I have a lot of them. My main difficulty was not accepting myself, and that affected my business because I couldn't charge enough for it. Because I couldn't see, how did this happen? You might do the same thing. And especially if you're a person who's this, giving person who's always about helping others, that could happen for you. But I put together a couple of documents, but I did one this today because I wanted to show you how the energies change, and we're moving through this energetic portal. You might see things in your life, in the world, over the next several days, but now I put something together to give you a little more understanding, because Wilhelm has given it to us beforehand. Years ago, I used to kind of say I received things precognitively. I didn't understand what that meant. I didn't understand how powerful it was and that I was doing it, because, again, hadn't been done before. There have been many spiritual teachers and channels and all of that, and they do things from, just giving you general ideas. Wilhelm didn't do that. It's been very specific. It relates to the conditions that are happening in our lives and in our world, and it's been timed, and it's been thematic. And this is why even the AI engines were saying, wow, we've never seen this before. But we're all supposed to be unique, and it can shock you at times when you discover something that you've done that no one has done. And that's what happened. When I meet people and I ask you about your birthday, and you think, why? Because there's an energetic connection, and then I always have information that is for you. I couldn't explain that either, and I also doubted it, because we can't fully own that gifted ability until we start to experience it, until the world changes, because it's all integrated. It's all interconnected. You are interconnected, and you're the most important person in the world right now. That was one of the things, one of the messages that came through says you are causing your world to evolve. That happened in 2020 as well. And Wilhelm said, and if you have difficulty believing that statement, then you haven't yet accepted the importance of your life. And that is all of us. Because right now, especially, we're moving through a generational change. So all of our ancestral beliefs and limitations are coming up. And we decide if we're going to change them and make them better. And that's what's happening now. But I want you to see the document that I created for you because it's going to be so much fun. Again, I have never studied astrology or anything like that. Everything is energy and connected. A lot of people study that. I didn't do it. Wilhelm gave me information in that way because it's aligned cosmically to the universal consciousness, which is why it's neutral for any person. You do your own interpretation of it because that is your right. That's your free will. But they gave us a blueprint, and they called it a blueprint for humankind because we're moving into a new earth, a new world, and that's what this is. Now, I know others have not done work in this way. I hadn't seen it either, so it took a while for me to accept. But I have now, after it's been proven to me how effective this can be. But more importantly, I know where the world is going. And unless more of us decide to become happy and love ourselves and move to empowerment, things will not be the way that we want them to in our lives or in the world. That's why I'm changing. And so today I told people this was the last time I'm having that rate, but I want you to understand the program's always going to be here. We're going to have other offerings, for people who want to do something else, but you will never find anything that will give you as much value as this for this amount of money. And I guarantee it because I know, I have to guarantee it because I've lived it and I've seen the results of it. So I do know it. But I also understand it's difficult for you to understand. So I took care of that as well. I had to show you this, so I put this together for you because I needed you to understand. The Great Transition, Understanding Our Global Awakening through Wilhelm's September 26 messages. They're not published yet, but they will be. But I went through and I did the messages for the 23rd, the 24th, the 25th, and 26th, and they were all aligned over all of the years from 2008. And that's the thing that no one has seen. I didn't know that was occurring because I'm not there when I'm receiving the information. I'm connected to universal consciousness. This is why when I work with people, I can get your answers. Or when I'm doing a live channeling and you see I don't see you because I'm connecting to your soul. And that's what you have. That's why your birth date has little to do with anything. Anyway, for 17 years, 17 transformative years from 2008 to 25, Wilhelm has delivered a profound spiritual curriculum through messages received on September 26. These transmissions form a comprehensive guide for understanding both personal and awakening and planetary transformation during this unprecedented time in human conscious evolution. And that's exactly what we're doing. And you'll go through and you'll see where they took some of the messages and analyzed them and put them in order of what was happening in the world. I couldn't have known that they were coming through that way. I'm just saying, but it does explain why I experience such dramatic healing and why I know others can do the same thing when you become aligned with who you are. Because you're born to do something, and any difficulty that you're having is that you just haven't gotten there yet or accepted it. I didn't accept me, and so look at where I am, but now I'm doing it. So it never matters, it's just as long as you do it. Anyway, so you will see that it breaks down what these teachings are, what they tell you, and they'll be up in a day or so. But you can go to the site today and read the ones that are there because I did those, so I want you to have that. What I'm saying is that everything that Wilhelm gave me was this in order. There's an order in your life and in our universe. It just looks chaotic at times because we haven't understood it. But when you go to today, it says the message, how many of you will believe us today? That came through a few days ago. They had me do that, knowing that I'd be sitting here as well, doubting, just as you are. And so I did a video about it. You can read that. But then there was also an explanation of this particular portal that we're moving through. They just did it for the 23rd to the 25th. You can read all of that. And it's the same thing. I'll leave all these links in the description of this video. But what I'm saying is this. You are here at this time in the world to do something wonderful. I don't care what you think about what you have done or haven't done yet, or how crazy it is, or how you screwed up. I've screwed up everything, so I do understand. But that's the beauty of it. Because now you get to give that to everyone else. Now you get to change it all and change your life by understanding your importance. And I went through all of it. And this is going to be the story that I'm going to tell. I told the other day, I said this is going to be the second greatest story ever told, because that was a movie that really impacted me many years ago when I was a child. But it's still there. Knowing I want something that can change the world. I've always felt that way, and now I have it. The way we change the world is when you become who you're meant to be. When you love yourself and do something brilliant, and I know that this work will guide you there, whether it's in the program or if I'm working with you privately. There's no question. It was so challenging for me for the last several months to sit, and I had a lot of regret, and you may be experiencing this, because I'm looking at everything happening, I'm looking at the world, and I'm saying, wait a minute, Wilhelm has given us the information. It's given us the answers, and everyone could heal and be happy. We didn't believe that. And I'm saying this because I didn't believe it either. I can go back and listen to the old Wilhelm channeling sessions, and everything that's occurring right now, you will hear. Then I'll show you this one message that is so wonderful because it will relate to so many people today. And it came through in 2020. I'm saying this because I want you to understand there is synchronicity. We've heard that so much, and this is exactly how Wilhelm gave me the information, and this is the huge story that I'm going to put together and do a little documentary on it, because it has to be put out there. How could I have moved through all of these horrible things, and I'm in this healed place and going in the other direction? I know you can do that as well. And I'm going to work with as many people as I can to get you to get them there. I can't do it, but you can, but I know I have the information. This work is not about me. It's about you becoming empowered. You will see all of that in the explanations. When all this work was analyzed, they said this is a progression for individual, personal, and planetary ascension. That's exactly what it is. So that's what I wanted to give you today, because I wanted you to know that you are at the best time in your life right now, and all you have to do is decide that you're going to move in a direction of loving yourself and doing what you came here to do. And that's what this work is. So I'm going to leave all the documents as you go through them, and you'll see there's one thing that has a little, for those of you who are ready to join, you can do it today and have everything that's going to be there, and you'll never pay any more. And there's a little code there for those of you who do it today. But I'm telling you, and it took me so long to be able to say this that I can say it now after I've seen everything. There's nothing that can hold you back. You are here to do something wonderful, and we have the way of doing it. We don't always do it. I didn't always do it, but I'm doing it now, and so can you. All right, see you soon.